Good evening, my name's Gary, and we're going to play some guitar tonight. If you need the sheet music, you go to denverguitarorchestra.com. And I'm going there right now to post a link to this video. And link, enter, edit, settings, open link in new window. Oops. Open link in new window. Update. Let me make sure I got the sound settings correct. I've been changing them a lot. Built-in microphone. Let's switch over to the Samsung. And video is as good as I can get it right at the moment. I can't fix it on the fly. That's good enough. You're not here to look at me. Alright, so let me make sure that this posting worked correctly. This is logging in grows wearisome, doesn't it? Alright. Tonight we're going to play Three Blind Mice, and then we're going to replay all the melodies out of Book 1. Make sure everybody's feeling comfy with that. Then I'll talk to you about the strumming section. Then we'll play London Bridge is Falling Down in 2 keys, and then Mary Had a Little Lamb in 2 separate keys. We have Für Elise on our long-term study, and Happy Birthday will come and go very quickly. And then in the classical track, we have 2 Sagreras pieces and 2 Shearer pieces. So we should have plenty to keep us busy tonight. Let me close out that window. And let me put this right here. Denver Guitar Orchestra.com. For that, comes up here. Guitar, DGO. Open and tweet. No, don't do this. No, I don't need to do that. You just need to do this. There it goes. Okay. Done. Vic is in. Sound is good. Cloudy up in Eugene. Hey, Vic. Vic, I don't know if I have apologized enough to you about last night and the failures of all the electronic media and communication and all that. I'm apologizing to you yet again. I did the dumb thing of believing the technical crew over at Lakewood Cultural Center would be able to support what I had asked them if they could do, and they said, sure, we can do that, no problem. And of course, it was a huge problem, so we ended up with a really disappointing electronic video and all that stuff last night. So, come play with us on Saturday, Vic, if you can. Got this little half-size guitar. I use it mostly because it fits in the window of the pretty close, right? Oh, I haven't even checked the YouTube's thing. I don't even know if the sound came through. I know the video was terrible. I don't know if any of the sound came through. Well, thank you anyway, Vic. I really, really appreciate your perseverance through all of these challenges that we've been through over the last year. Okay, so here I am. I'm tuned up. I'm in the middle of the window. I think Linda is traveling, so we probably won't see her tonight. And Vic's our hero anyway, so we're going to just play some music together. And of course, if you're watching the replay, as many of you do, welcome and thanks for being here. We're going to start by playing Three Blind Mice tonight. And again, this song is super hard, and so I want to play it the two ways that I would expect if you were here in town and taking my guitar class. I would have this sense that, hey, I want to make sure they can play the chord, and I want to make sure they can play the melody. If they play the tough acts, that's great, but that is certainly not expected out of a Book 1 player. Row, Row, Row Your Boat, maybe a little different. Farmer in the Dell, definitely a little bit different. But Three Blind Mice, this is such a hard piece of music from a tough acts perspective that I would not ever really imagine somebody just sitting down and doing it. So, who is new to the guitar. All right, so first the chord. Remember, let me pull up my screen so I can make sure I'm doing this right. Index, middle, index, 2nd fret, 5th string, middle finger, 6th string, 3rd fret, and then ring finger down here, 1st string, 3rd fret. We're in 4, so I'm going to do boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, thumb, everybody, thumb, everybody, thumb, everybody, thumb, everybody, thumb, everybody. Three blind mice, 3 blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all went after the farmer's wife. Let me start at that section there again. I went normal speed, it's half that speed. They all went after the farmer's wife. She cut off their tails with a carving knife. Have you ever seen such a sight in your life as 3 blind mice? Right, so all I was doing was goofing around which string I was going to use to hit my thumb. You can use any of those, right? But these 3 fingers I pretty much left planted on the bottom 3 strings. Usually works out. All right, so there's the chord, our new chord, the last chord of Book 1. And then let's play the melody. This should be old hat at this point. If it's a 2, you play it with your middle finger. If it's a 3, you play it with your ring finger. If it's a 1, you play it with your index finger. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely, right? So those are the 2 things. If you're graduating from Book 1, I'd be like, yep, you really want to be able to play that melody. You really want to be able to do a G chord. If you're doing fine with that, you're ready for Book 2. I will play the tough acts just to show you what it looks like, right? And whether you can play it or not doesn't matter. But I'm going to, instead of using this G chord with index, middle, and ring, I'm going to make the exact same shape with middle, ring, and pinky. And throughout this entire song, these 2 fingers are going to stay planted, middle and ring. Okay? From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it works, it's just really hard to play. Now, the cool part is these two fingers never have moved, so I could choose, if the guitar was starting to fade away a little bit, I'd go ahead and play those deep strings. But if they were already ringing pretty well, I might have, in some of those cases where it said play all 6 strings, a lot of times I was just grabbing strings 4 down, because these guys were already doing their job, and so I didn't feel like I needed to add anything to it. Alright, so that's how you play 3-blind mice, okay? Finally, let's go through the book from the beginning. Go grab Brother John, which is the first song in the book. We're going to just play the melodies, okay? Just all of the 5 melodies in the book, okay? So Brother John is 0240 and so on. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. 7. 797 540. First string, second string, first string. Second ending. Where we started, we used that song to teach how to read tablature, and so both ukulele and guitar, that's something that I teach everybody, no matter how many years of experience they have. I think it's really a valuable tool to get you started reading tablature, and also talking about standard notation as well. What those notes mean in terms of their length. I don't spend any time really talking about what they mean vertically, but horizontally is super important because that's how long you know to hold the note. All right, now let's go into Frere Jacques in first position, right? So the entire song is going to be played down here in the first frets. Okay, and we're going to start with the 2 on the 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fascinating, same song, right? But it's all down here where you're not having to move up and down the fretboard, which is less fun probably, but more important because you're gonna make sure to hit the right strings going vertically along the fretboard. And I think you heard me make a couple of iffy notes there, because it's easier in terms of keeping your hand here, but harder in terms of making sure you're on the right string. So both of those have really important usefulnesses, I think. Farmer in the Dell, not much of a song here. This is really meant to teach you how to play tough acts, get you started on that 3rd line. But from the melody point, everything's a 2. And of course, we talk about, hey, if it's in 1, play it with this finger. If it's a 2, play it here. And if it's a 3, play it with your ring finger. But when everything's a 2, we kind of flip that on an edge. Hey, let's just grab the A chord, right? Just grab the A chord. Almost all of your notes are going to be underneath that. And that way you would have less motion, right? It's because you already grabbed 2, 2, 2. Leave the first string open, and you'll see almost all your notes are right there underneath your hand already. From the top, 4th string, 1, 2. Lift up your ring finger and put it back. First string, ring finger, put it back. Pick it up, put it back. And so you can see these two guys never moved at all. Very little motion except for this finger making sure it's on whatever location it needed to be to make the melody. And so that piece of music there is really helpful in terms of getting you thinking about, hey, I'm going to hold this chord and then I'm going to use my other fingers to create the melody, and then it's just a little jump step into creating chord melody. Okay, row, row, row your boat, just the melody. Remember, you're going to be ones. You don't have any ones in this song, so it doesn't make sense to play it in first position. It makes sense to play it in second position. Now the twos are your index finger, your threes are your middle finger, and your five, it comes up twice, is going to have use your pinky up here. Likewise, when you get to those tens, just use your index finger and cover both strings at the same time, and you'll be able to play those tens in measure 5. Okay, so second position from the top. 1, 2. Sorry. Jeez. Do it again since I messed it up the first time. From the top. 1, 2. Shred, shred, shred your axe. Rock like you're a star. E-A-D-G-B-E. Don't you dare mess with me, master of guitar. Your finger a little bit for that last note to get some vibrato. Nice. Okay. And then we already played Three Blind Mice, so that's it. Is that it? Brother John, Brother Jaya, Farmer in the Dell, row, 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 3 blind. That's 5. Yeah, that's how many is in the book. All right. So if you then look at your little booklet, right, that's got the strumming work on it, and so I do want this next week, if you guys will spend some time working on that. The problem with these strummers is I have to sing, right, and nobody wants to hear that, but it's good practice for you because this is how most people play guitar. Most people just need the chords and the lyrics, and they sing and they clunk through their way through the chords good enough, and everybody has a good time. And so what I want to do on this little booklet, though, point out a few key elements. Number one, if it has a red headline, it is a 1-chord song. So Frere Jacques is an A. Frere, are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. And so Three Blind Mice is also a 1-chord song. And then Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Farmer in the Dell, and Lime and a Coconut are all 1-chord songs. We ought to talk about Lime and the Coconut on page 2 real quick. Your E chord, which you learned right off the bat out in this course, is that. But in this song, we're going to use an E7, so we're just going to lift up the ring finger. It has a little bit of tension in it. And let me sing through the. Let's sing through this song just because it's kind of fun and it's a good one to get you going on strumming. Think of it as it's in 4/4 time, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. My brother bought a coconut, he bought it for $1. My sister had another one, spent it on a lime. You put the lime in the coconut, shake it all up. You put the lime in the coconut, drink it all up. You put the lime in the coconut, then you'll perk on up. And then you would change your strum pattern and some sort. Call the doctor, woke him up, and here is what I said. I said, doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I said, doctor, to relieve this bellyache. I said, doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? You put the lime in the coconut, drink 'em both together. Put the lime in the coconut, then you'll feel much better. Put the lime in the coconut. And so try to always mix up your strum pattern, and we'll talk next week about in more detail about all the different types of strum patterns you might tackle. So those are your one-chord songs. All the other songs you probably know. Vive la Compagnie on page 15 is a little bit more obscure, but mostly you'll know these. Let's look at page 3 real quick. Clementine. It has a blue headline. That means there's going to be 3 chords in there, right? And so the best thing you can do when you're working on strumming is practice your chords. A chord, then there's going to be some D chords in there, and there's going to be some E7s. So spend a little bit of time just going through and making sure you know what they feel like. Yeah, and Vic just posted, hey, I appreciate strumming, but it's really not my first choice. The reason we work on strumming to some extent is that when you get together and somebody hears you're a guitar player, they're going to invite you to meet their other guitar player friend, and you're going to feel like you should be polite and go. And that guy is going to be he's going to be a strumming singer, almost for sure. It's the number of people who are doing fingerstyle is minuscule compared to those who are using this as a backup to their voice, and of those, there's lots of those compared to the number of classical players. And so we want to learn to be able to at least survive playing with other guitar players, and the way we do that is by learning how to strum and sing, and it's fine, right? It's just maybe not my first choice, but it's something I do want you to be able to do. So if I'm looking at page 3, Clementine, I might start off real slow with just a very simple strum. In a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine, dwelt a miner, 49er, and his daughter Clementine. Now that seems like, well, you're not really doing anything, Gary, but that's a really, really smart way to start a song. Studying it, you may not do that in performance, but you would do that to get it started, just to make sure the chords are correct. A lot of times when you grab this stuff off the internet, the chords don't sound right, or they're in the wrong spot or whatever, and so you just go through and double check it, just with single strums, right, or one strum on the first beat of each measure type thing. The other one, then of course, then you would want to speed it up. So if we get to the chorus, oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Okay, so there was a very simple boom chuck kind of thing. Then I'd go through I'd go through this enough till I found out, hey, here's the way I want to do it. Maybe I would try an arpeggio pattern. If I'm start on the A. Light she was and like a fairy, and her shoes were number 9. Herring boxes without tops, where sandals were for Clementine. Yeah, that didn't go very well. Oh, because I'm plucking in a 4-beat pattern. No wonder. If I pluck in a 6-beat pattern, it's very likely to go better. So then I go, okay, all right, next verse. Drove the ducklings to the water every morning just at 9. What is the next thing? Hit her foot against a splinter and fell into brine. All I had to do is get my number of beats correctly, and all of a sudden it works, right? So we've done, we could just do, and then you're like, okay, now I see how this song works. Now you might bring in your strumming as another way to practice. Ruby lips above the water, blowing bubbles soft and fine. But alas, I was no swimmer, neither was my Clementine, right? And so go slow. The main thing that's important when strumming or singing is that your chord is ready to go on the first beat of when you're supposed to be playing it. So you don't want to, if I were to look at the next line, it says, in a churchyard, I don't want to get my A chord on. In a churchyard near the canyon where the myrtle boughs then, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I've got to be on E7. Twine, row the, oh shoot, now I'm supposed to be over on D. Roses in there, dang it, posies, Freudka, line by Clementine, right? So I don't want to do that. What I want to do is make sure that I'm ready to go on the first strum of the next chord. So the minute I get my current chord on, I forget about it. I'm looking ahead to see where's the next chord coming in. So if I play that more correctly, I'm going to be thinking about stopping making noise with my right hand in plenty of time to get my chord on in my left hand. I'm going to stop making noise with my right hand in order to get my chord on with my left hand, so it's ready to go on beat 1 of that moment. So when you go to in a churchyard near the canyon where the myrtle boughs entwine, grow the roses and their posies fertilized by Clementine. So I kept singing, but I stopped strumming so that I would have enough time to get my chord on. And that's something that when we're newer and we're working on strumming, a lot of times we just can't talk ourselves into doing it. We strum right up to the next chord, and then we have to stop, change the chord, and then start strumming again. And that's not what you want. You want to stop strumming in enough time to have your chord on so that you're ready to go in the next chord, whatever that is. Yeah, Vic says when you get sheet music like this, it just shows you chords and lyrics. Well, there's so many things in this that you don't know, and if it's a song that you've heard on the radio, then you might be okay. But most of the time when you go to things, they hand you the chords and the lyrics, and you don't know the song, and you've never heard the song, and you're never going to work on the song ever again, and all of a sudden you're like, oh geez, I don't know how this thing goes, and you sort of fake it and you get through it, but it's never ideal. And so I notice our local ukulele group, they do strum-alongs twice a month now, and they most of the songs that are in their song sheets each time, I don't know. I've never heard of. So if I went to those strum-alongs, boy, I'm really reliant upon the singer to do a good job, and and then my knowledge of music overall, to make sure that my chords are sort of showing up where they're supposed to be. But that's the problem with this type of sheet music, is it's very compact. It fits easily onto photocopies, and everybody can pass them around, and there's not a major problem with it. But it really is meant for singers, and it's really meant for people who already know the song. If you want to learn a song, this is far and away not the best way to do it, probably. So yeah, all right. So spend your week with this book. We're going to spend 2 more weeks on it. So we'll run next week. We'll run all the 1 chords. We'll run all the 2 chords. We'll run, and then we'll move into the 3 chord songs. And there's 2 4 chord songs in here. Kookaburra on page 10 uses all 4 of the chords, and Vive la Company, I think, is on 15, uses all 4 chords. And notice at the front of the book, these are posted in a very specific pattern. On page 1, you're supposed to do it's a good idea when you're warming up, do them all. A chord, bar chord hard, F sharp minor, D chord, and E chord, E7. Duke, 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 Duke of Earl, 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 and that's a good way to do it, is just sing that thing over and over, because then you don't have to actually learn any words, right? You already just say the same ones over and over. But it'll give you a chance to practice being on the right chord at the right time when you're supposed to be there. And the hard one on there, obviously, you already know A, you already know D, you pretty much know E7, because it's just your E chord with your ring finger. The hard one's F sharp minor, and that's a bar with ring and pinky, right? And a good chance it's going to sound like this. Okay, that's how I sounded forever when I started playing bar chords, right? And you want to embrace that. You want to be like, yep, that's how my F sharp minor sounds, and you're just very proud of it, right? You get one of these kind of deals, just embrace it, because it goes away. You will get where you can do it. It's not a problem. But just getting it close, So if I were to play it the way I played it in the beginning, do, 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 Duke of Earl, 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 Duke of Earl. And that's just how you'll do it, right? You'll do that for now, and then you won't worry about it, because there comes a day when you're like, oh, I can totally do bar chords, but it won't probably be this week. All right, nice job on that. Spend the week strumming. Okay, we'll try to do every single song in the book. See if you can figure them out, and then next week we'll run through a bunch of them, and maybe the week after too. I don't know. We'll see what the calendar holds for us. All right, there we go. Book 1 almost done. Let's go on to Book 2, London Bridges. We studied this now last week, so we should be able to just play straight through it. Guitar, Book 2, London Bridge. So remember, this is the one with 2 keys in it, right? The first key is in A, second key is in C. I'm going to play the tough acts, and I'm going to go pretty slow. You can play the chords, you can play the melody, you can play the tough acts, whichever one makes the most sense to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the top, go. If I would have gone to the second ending, or which I will do now, right? Just knock out one more C there, and probably ought to put a My Fair Lady. I put a fermata on there, and it's blank, so you'd have time to get turned around. Obviously, that song gets a whole lot more difficult to play on the second page, but in terms of strumming and singing something, it might fit your voice better. Depending, one of them will fit your voice better, either the part in the key of A or the part in the key of C, and then that's when you would know, like, oh man, I'm going to play it in that key instead of the other key when I can, because it fits my voice better. So yeah, pretty challenging second half, and that's what I like about switching keys on simpler songs, is it gives you a chance to appreciate the song's complexity a little bit more. This week you'll be working on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Same exact concept, except this goes from D and the key of D into the key of A. So both of these keys are pretty easy. And so there's really very little. The only reason this one comes after the other one in the book is because it's alphabetical. This is an easier one to do. So if you survived at all from London Bridges, this Mary Had a Little Lamb will not be problematic at all. And those of you who hate the song Mary Had a Little Lamb because of that Jim Gaffigan sketch, just sing Merrily We Roll Along, and you'll think you're playing a much better song. Okay, that's the second verse on here. Okay, let's run through just the tough acts. You know the melody and you know these chords, so we're not gonna spend any time talking about it. We're just gonna play the tough acts, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Merrily we roll along. A chord. Roll along. D chord. Pinky. The second ending says 0 2 2 2 0, so that would be just a regular A chord, right? But it'll sound better if you put your bar chord on there and put your pinky up on 5, because then you can take advantage of the A note that's sitting right there. So work on that this week. It's not much of a song. It's easier than London Bridges, it'll give you a chance just to sort of dig into that whole idea of, hey, we're going to play the song in one key and then we're going to switch into a different key, and that happens in a lot of music. So it's a good idea to have some skills in regard to that. All right, book 2 went by, just zipped right on by. Let's go take a look at book 3. And we started book 3 last week. We started Für Elise. I'm probably going to keep it around for a couple more weeks. Is a pretty challenging tune, and I want you to have a good opportunity to play it, right? And this is a song where if you're on piano, it's da 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 dum, right? If you're on any other instrument, you might play it quite a bit slower. So let's just play the melody first. I think that's the best way to approach this one, and see if we can get a nice clean melody out of it. I'll probably just use my thumb over here, but it's not a terrible idea for you to try to use 4 fingers. The entire song, melody-wise, sits on the first 4 strings, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to use thumb, index, middle, ring to play it, but I'll probably just use my thumb. Okay, so 2-beat count in, and then 7/6. 1. Let me count it as 1 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 1 3 and 1. I messed up. 3 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 sorry, 3 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and okay. So I counted the whole thing just to give you a sense of when I start a song. If I didn't know this song, that's for sure something I would do is be counting out loud what the beat is, and that way I would have no problem being able to find out approximately when I should be plucking those notes. I just felt this weird gash on here. I was seeing it was cracking open. This guitar's fine. There's a few things about it. It's been trying to fall apart on me. All right, let's play the tough axe line. We'll go through it a little bit slower, and we will play this again next week, whether this goes well or not. Okay. So when I'm looking at tough axe, I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna. As I look through this, I'd see big, old, beautiful strums in there. You can pluck them, okay, but I would, in this case, I'd think about strumming them from the top, 1 and 2 and. What is it? This mess of a thing here, right? 3, 4, 5, 5. Whoops, sorry. Too much drama there at the end, but let's keep it one more week. Hopefully that's going pretty well for you. Everybody knows that tune, right? And so it should be coming together for you. Let's go peek very quickly at happy birthday. Why isn't it in my book here? Book 3. Didn't we do this? Have we not done this one yet? Surely we have. H. Happy birthday. Huh. Well, we've never done this on guitar before. How about that? I think we'll grab it off the website. Jeez. How have we not done happy birthday before? Oh. Happy birthday. Now, happy birthday, obviously, you're probably not going to play it fingerstyle for people, but you might. And we play everything fingerstyle to get us smarter. But you're really just going to play the chords. And these chords, not unimportantly, are exactly the same 3 chords that I use in the ukulele program. So I only have to memorize one set of chords, right? So you got your G chord. Happy birthday to, and then just go to your D chord. Just memorize it. You. Happy birthday to. Back to G chord. You. Happy birthday, dear. And then D, C. Joe. Okay, and then let it ring for a little bit. And then back to G, D, 7, G. Happy birthday to you. Okay, so you want to memorize those chords. That way you don't have to go look up the sheet music when you're going to sing somebody happy birthday. You get everybody in the room and they don't want you. Hold on, don't start singing yet. I got to get my sheet music arranged, right? Just know it's G, D, G, G, D, C, right? And then G, D, 7, G. Okay, melody. Let's play the melody really quickly. This won't be anything for you. 1, 2. Got a 10. And a couple of 8s. So you notice I saw the 10 when I was on just getting started on measure 4, because I'm trying to always read a full measure ahead. That way when I say, oh shoot, I'm gonna these 2 3s to play, but I'm not gonna get caught flat-footed when I see the next note is a 10, because I already know it's a 10, because I'm already 3 notes ahead, and that way I don't get surprised by something like that. Let's play the tough acts really quickly. This is your job for the week, but you're never going to probably play it this way, but let's do it anyway. 1, and notice that it's really everything's on 4 strings except for the big C chord and measure 5. How come I don't have measure numbers on here? Measure numbers. Done. Okay. From the top. 1, 2. Certainly needs our glissando there. Okay. And you put on a full G chord at the end. That was pretty cool. Hardest chord on here, when you're singing it, you'll use a regular D7 to you, but when you're doing the fingerstyle version, you're going to use this G7 557 that way the guitar is doing the singing of putting this high note here. That's an A note and it feels like it needs to resolve to G. So that's what's going on there. So we'll play that all 3 ways next week. But really, my suggestion is just memorize the chord pattern so that when the day comes when they say, hey, come on over and sing happy birthday to so and so, you just have the chords memorized. And of course, if you have memorize the chords, they're going to have to sing it in the key that you play it in, and it's probably better for you, right? Because you can obviously transpose this into other keys. Für Elise is a great arranger. You know, it's interesting. Für Elise, Vic is mentioning that. my arrangement of Für Elise came out of one of the very early editions of Pianist magazine. They had done an adaptation of it, and I have since adapted theirs to other things. But I just thought it was really just very tight, very clean, very pretty, and I think they did it. And the majority of that arrangement was their idea. I just arranged it for our instruments, and you always have to adjust some things, but worked out pretty good. All right, so if you're just doing fingerstyle at books 1, 2, and 3, you're done. You can sneak out of here. Let's play these classical tunes here. And just so you know, we have about 6 songs left in the classical book. By the way, I put a link to the classical sheet music at the bottom of page 1 there, right underneath our classical section, because I got tired of scrolling all the way down to book 7. So you can link directly to the classical sheet from the front page now, so it saves you some time, I think. But it looks like, how many we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tunes are left to finish up book 0. So I'm going to try to knock those out as quickly as I can, hopefully this week or next. And I'll post those as soon as I get them done. But then we'll have the entire book 0 done. And then, of course, the obligation will be for us to go through and play everything one last time before we move on to book 1. All right. So in other words, be practicing all, how many songs are there? All 38 songs. That's a lot of music. All right. Get back to where we were. So the first thing I want to play is Lesson 62 by our good buddy Sagreras. All right. And remember, I changed one note and then added a turnaround, and I think it sounds really cool. Okay, so we'll go nice and slow and see how we do. 1 and 2 and. Thing there, I did a naughty thing. So on the sheet music says play an A minor at the end. Right? The problem is you get that E note on the bottom and it just doesn't sound very complete to me. So I just reached up and played a mini bar chord on 5. Okay, just play those bottom 3 strings. 5, 5, 5. Okay, and so I'll change that in the arrangement, but let's play it one more time. It's such a great song. And really, literally, I changed one note, and I added a turnaround, and all of a sudden you have a song that's pretty darn cool. If you played that for somebody, they'd be like, you're really good. From the top, 1 and 2 and. cool song. Last time around, I finally got all the notes what they're supposed to be. But isn't that fun? It's really, really beautiful. And my arrangement's better than Julio's. So there you go. Let's go grab Etude number 6 from Aaron Shearer. Okay, now it looks long. It seems like a lot of notes, but there's not that much here. And so just use the chord shapes for the most part to tell you what you're supposed to do. And then it's really about just hitting that bass note that's sort of hanging out by itself from time to time. So let's give it a try, see how we do. Okay, from the top, I would be for sure using index, middle, ring, middle. Bum, 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 bum. Just like he says, P-I-M-M, P-I-M-I. Oh, so he, oh, look at what he wants you to do. So thumb is going to be moving all around. That's what he wants us to do. Let's give that a try. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. D minor. Chord. D minor at 11. So not much song there, but I think the skill is actually pretty cool. Moving your thumb all the way down to the 3rd string and then up to the 5th string over and over, and then we're just keeping your index and middle doing their job. Probably not a terrible etude to put a little bit of time in on. Not a great song though. All right, let's go grab Prelude number 9. Similar skill set, right? We're going to grab a chord and we're going to play 6 notes. So in this case, we're in 3/4. So we're going to have an extra finger that was going to come in and play, and that's our ring finger. And as I'm looking through this, it's like, oh, okay, every measure is exactly the same. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. And we've done that a lot when we're practicing strumming on 6/8 time. This is how you do it, right? And so the kind of cool thing, this sounds like it's Metallica with the first couple measures. All right, give it a try. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Tension in that, you're playing an E chord on top of a D7. Tension. So there's a lot of tension going on. out. So it feels kind of like a normal song, and then all of a sudden at D7 it starts to get weird, and then D6 gets even weirder, and then the modified D6 gets even weirder, and then he backs us right back out. And again, this is just really a PIMAMI 6-beat pattern, and of course you guys have all done that plenty. So all right, finally lesson 46. This is our new Julio Sagreras piece. And when I put this together, I thought, yeah, it's okay, right? So notice how fancy and what a mess the standard notation is. You got triplets over all of those things. Very confusing to read it. And at the end of the day, you don't need to worry about any of that. It's just 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and so it feels a little bit like 12/8 because it's almost all eighth notes, and there's 12 of them in a measure: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So a lot of times when people are grumbling about this song's supposed to be in this or that or the other thing, he's given us a 12/8 song written in 4/4 time, and yeah, it's fine, right? We just have to know we're going to be doing triplets instead of eighth notes, and they sound the same. So get your A minor on. And again, you don't have to put the whole A minor on. You're not going to hit that fourth string. So just a simple A minor. Okay? From the top. And I'll just count us in as 1 and 2. 1 triplet, 2, I'll do that. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. This one, the melody is almost in the bass. It's not a great melody, but the cool part is when you hit the deep notes. Now, I did make one mistake there. In measure 3, I thought it was a D minor when I glanced at it, but it's actually an E, and so you get your index fingers on the 3rd string. Pinky finger hits that 3 on the 2nd string. You can use your ring, but it's just easier to use your pinky. So I'd like to play it one more time, and then we'll be done. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. There's a half note. I would for sure let that ring a full whole note and then stop the sound. Again, not a ton of music there, but probably a pretty important skill set. If you're just reading the sheet music and not looking at the tablature, that could look like, oh boy, this is a really, really challenging song. But when you see it on tablature, you're like, oh, well, this is nothing. This is just a little arpeggio. And so, hence the importance of knowing both systems, right? You can look at that sheet music and go, okay, I see what's going on, but the tablature is going to be like, oh, I really see what's going on. Much easier to read the tablature and something like this. All right, so later this week, I will try to post some more stuff under classical. I think we'll hang on to Für Elise one more week, so we'll play Für Elise, Happy Birthday next week, and then I'll add a third song on to book 3. Work on Your Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's great. And then honestly, no matter what level you're on, book 1, the strumming book, that's a fun book to play through if you haven't played through it already. Just go through and play every single song, and you'll feel like you're a hero. All right, that's enough for tonight. Vic, good to see you, and whoever else is hanging out online with us. And I think, and Vic said all these pieces are fun to play. Everything's kind of, right? We're playing at a level that's kind of fun, and that's something we forget in guitar a lot, is to have fun, right? Because we're so busy working on our next piece. That's what orchestra's for, is to make you demoralized. The rest of the time, you should be having fun. All right, you guys have a wonderful night. I'll see you soon. Peace.